talk to you about authoritarianism, what it is, why it's a problem, and what we can do to address it. Authoritarianism is the attack on a person's personal freedoms, as in the rights that all of us individuals are born with. Basic rights such as the right to be free, the right to live a good life, the right to not basically suffer from birth to death. We in America aren't supposed to live like that. We don't believe that that's right. Well, we're not supposed to, but if you look at what we're going through today, I guess you could say that's in question. However, back to the point, we have police doing things that they're not supposed to, violations of our personal freedoms. We have the president doing things that they're not supposed to, or he's not supposed to. We have, look at North Carolina and the coup they got going on to keep the Democratic governor from having the power that he should have, and that his Republican predecessor has. That's, it may be legal technically. I don't know if it is or not, but that's an example of authoritarianism. They are pushing the rule of law to force the hand in a way that it wasn't meant to be used. And they're doing this with total disregard for the democratic process, and many Americans who want, some sort of belief or idea that they can be okay with without constantly questioning that their government is fair, that we're still a free country. But we look more and more and more and more. Hell, we saw at Standing Rock. We literally saw, reminiscent of the civil rights movement, water hoses, people getting hurt. And this was in freezing temperatures. Fire, civil disobedience, chaos, innocent people. I saw a reporter who was doing nothing wrong get shot with rubber bullets. You'd think we would learn our lesson the first time, but we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. And the reason why is the same reason people believe that beating the living crap out of their children, I'm not necessarily against spanking, but people that believe that beating the living crap out of their children will change behavior. Them not doing things at that point would be out of fear, not out of understanding. So when they do similar things that are wrong for the same reasons, they'll make those mistakes because they didn't understand why the first thing was wrong, only that not to do that specific thing because they were scared of the consequences. You have to teach people how to understand why things are wrong, what's going on, why things are they are. There's no confusion about why people don't trust our government and the police currently. I mean, we have evidence to the contrary that they're telling us the truth on numerous occasions. Obama promised transparency. We've had anything but, as you've seen from these Wikileaks revelations. He promised to close Guantanamo Bay. I mean, he promised a lot of things, just like Trump promised a lot of things. There's probably not going to be a wall. I don't think a wall is a great idea. Gary Johnson he got the quote, all you need for a 10-foot wall is 11-foot ladder. Well, or you need to dig underground, or maybe they'll just pay off the right people. They'll find a way. Either way, I think it's a waste of money. And I think a pathway to citizenship is a more appropriate approach. It makes the most sense, and it turns a bunch of non-tax-paying citizens into taxpayers, because I don't have a problem with illegal immigrants myself. If they want to get legal, that's cool. And even if they're illegal and they're in the process of getting legal, that's cool too if they pay taxes. We can't go to Canada and not pay taxes. So why would we let them come here and not pay taxes? And most of them do, that I know of, that I've known, and even the ones that aren't documented, legal citizens. So I'm not saying that's all of them. Okay? I'm just trying to be reasonable. There's like a common ground here, and if people stop attacking each other, we can come to reasonable conclusions based on logic and reason, and not going at each other's throats. Anyway, back to authoritarianism, and that in itself is I can't totally say ban immigration because that's authoritarianism, and I'm not totally like libertarian to the point that I think there should be no rules whatsoever, but I'm pretty I just think people shouldn't hurt people, and I think anything that doesn't hurt anybody is nobody else's business. And I also think if right and wrong is as simple as people hurt versus people that aren't hurt, if whatever action, decision, thing you do hurts more people, including yourself, than not doing it, then it's probably wrong. That's what I understand in right and wrong. A lot of times people seem to try to draw their own line or distinguishment, especially in government, of what right and wrong is. And at times they'll even stretch the law or twist the words to make it fit their agenda or that criteria. And that's wrong too. So it'll be interesting to see where we go in this country. But the best thing I can say do is to deal with authoritarianism is be involved. Be involved in politics. I'm not a very social person. I'm trying to learn how to be involved. I'm trying. It's hard for me. But if I could do it, anybody can, and I'm trying. Because our passiveness, our passivity throughout probably decades now, maybe longer than that, I'm only 28, is the reason that things are the way they are. We ignore things and we let them happen. And we have ignored things and let them happen for a long time. And as long as we continue to ignore things and let them happen, things will get worse and worse and worse and worse. And then who can we blame? The government? Well, they just took what we gave to them willingly. Through the democratic process, allegedly. But anyway, that's the logic they'll use, and we can't refute it. And that's the point at the end of it. So what we can do is stay passive, keep them on blast, keep it transparent. Put them out there. Make sure they can't do things and get away with it. Make sure they can't do like North Carolina did and we're going to help hurricane victims, and then screw over the Democrats that elected legally their governor in their state. Or say, we're going to defund Planned Parenthood because they do abortions, and no federal funds go to abortions. Almost no, maybe in rare circumstances, but not like they're saying. Most of those funds go to help people not die, to keep people from dying. Mammograms, birth control, those type of things. I'm not a woman, and I'm kind of not well versed on that, but I know it's important things, and I know that the studies show that these are preventative treatments. Not just preventative treatments, but mostly preventative treatments that are for people's health. So when Republicans are saying defund Planned Parenthood, I'm not only hearing authoritarianism, I'm hearing fuck all you sick people because I'm religious. That's what I hear. And, there's all kinds of reasons that's wrong. And it's not just the religious aspect of it, it's the ethical aspect of it. And, I look at the unionized police, back to authoritarianism. I like the idea of unions, but I don't like the idea of unions in a government setting. As in, I don't like the idea of unions for not just all government settings. I mean, I guess you could have some, maybe the Department of Agriculture, I don't know, stuff like that. But I mean, when you're in a position of power, like you're literally, and even the Department of Agriculture might have power that I'm unaware of, but that's not the point. But my point is, if you're in a position of power and you have people that's job is to advocate for you, even if you're a really horrible person and you've done really horrible things, then when somebody dies and you have 50 use of force complaints and you still have your job because of these unions, well, that shows the detriment of the unions in this situation. Somebody in that type of position with that type of power does not need to get protected that much because it allows abuses and them to harm people. Harm versus help again, right and wrong. And I just want us all to get along. I want this to be a better country, and I want people to be kind to each other and understand that there's reasons other than greed to help each other, and it's for the benefit of all of us, and the use of all of us individually, as in each of us, we all have our own skill sets. The use of each of us combined can do a lot more than small groups of us combined, and being overall divided in sort of network topologies. Like we got some groups that only associate with some people and some that only associate with some other people, or the two groups only communicate through certain individuals who may have their own agendas, things like that. People just need to say, hey, you're a person, I'm a person, we can talk to each other as people. When we keep placing people in different hierarchical power, sets, that we get authoritarianism, we get abuses. When we realize we're all humans, we're all Homo sapiens sapiens, we're all related, we're all pretty much the same creature, with very, very small differences, very small genetic differences. What is it, 0.5%? Okay. We need to start treating each other that way. We need to start respecting each other that way. And I'm not perfect, and I have my own problems, but I do know in my head, my true beliefs are at the end of the day that I want this world to be a better place for my kids, my daughter, her children, their children's children, and even me in the future, and everybody else, and the people overseas dying through all these conflicts over land and property and religion and a bunch of stuff that's really not that important. It doesn't matter what your religion is when we have a gigantic, unexpected meteor coming at us that can impact our Earth. There was just an article the other day that NASA said we're not ready for it, and we're not. And if we spent less time arguing with each other, we could see that how great to offer the citizenry of Russia is, of China is, of the U.S. is, of Ecuador, Venezuela, Australia, UK, Ireland, everybody. They're great people. There are intelligent people all over the world. And there are bad people too. Let's stop isolating countries and saying most people from here are bad. There's people bad that are bad all over the world. We just need to start remembering individual freedoms. If this person isn't hurting you, why do you care? Why do you want to hurt them? Because by telling them they can't be themselves, you're hurting them. So now they're not hurting you, but you're hurting them. That's not fair. And we need to deal with the police and the politics and the authoritarianism by understanding. Just like anything else, we have to understand what the problem is, where they result, where they come from. And another big thing is income inequality, but that's another thing right now. And we need to be realistic. We need to look at facts. We need to look at the war on drugs, for example, because we can't even talk about authoritarianism that mentioned in our war on drugs in this country. And now what do we got? We got people dying constantly of overdoses, even with the war on drugs. The war on drugs made drugs worse. The war on terror made terror worse. That's probably because of regime change, but we need to stop appealing to emotion and just attacking, because just thinking neutralizing the target will work, because it seems there's other options or other possibilities that we're not considering, because we're such warmongers now. We have such power. We're so arrogant that we just go around fighting, even we don't have to. And this is especially true with Putin. I'm not going to sympathize with Putin. But from an objective standpoint, and when we look at diplomatic relations and worldwide relations, it doesn't make sense to escalate an argument with a world leader any more than it needs to be, or to insinuate someone's done things without providing evidence, especially given the climate we have now. That's another thing. We want our freedom, but we won't give other countries theirs. And sadly, I don't agree with Russia's rules and regulations and laws, but I believe we have the right to our sovereignty here in America. Russia can't come over here and tell us what to do. Just the same, I feel that we can't go tell Russia what to do, whether I agree with it or not. And this is another example of authoritarianism. Us being the world police, we're not just authoritarianism to our own citizenry. We're also going around telling the other people of the world what it is that they're going to do and what is right and what is wrong. And in the process of us apparently telling them right and wrong, we've made things even worse. So do we even know right and wrong? You know, I'm going to finish this off and point at a few polls and studies. Pew poll a while back for the Pew Research Center stated that the majority of the world, dozens and dozens of countries, find the U.S. to be the biggest threat to world peace. I want us to be the biggest contributor to world peace, not the biggest threat. So if we keep doing things as we have been, or if we don't do something other than what Trump is doing, which he is draining the swamp. He drained it all right, and he filled it back up with even bigger turds and even bigger creatures. So, I mean, I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to see how this goes. You know, good luck to y'all. I do love my country. I just hate where it's going. I mean, I hate where it was, too, before. It seems we fix one thing and fuck something else up. We can't seem to get it right. I just want us all to care about each other and help each other and work for each other for the good of all of us, because we're going to hell in a handbasket fast, and enough is enough. Y'all have a good day.